Welcome back to MFO, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on an Underwater Wednesday. I had a viewer ask me a question about jigs. Mark, do you always trim the skirts on your jigs? If so, how do you trim them and why do you trim them? Is there ever a situation where you do or you don't? What is the reason for trimming the skirts on your jigs? Today, I'm actually going to show you or give you the reasons we trim our jig skirts, but also I'm gonna get in the pool and I'm gonna compare one that I have trimmed up compared to one that I haven't and show you the reason that I do this and when. So stick around, guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher. The question was, do you trim your jig skirts? And if so, how do you do it and why do you do it? What's the impact? Well, we're going to show you all that today. The answer, generally speaking, is yes, I trim my jig skirts. But I think I do something a little bit beyond what most guys do, and I want to explain that. And then we're going to get in the pool and we're going to look at the difference. And I've never done this before. I've never seen this. So I'm interested to see what we do. So the first thing I need to do, I've literally taken 2 jigs, just some Bass Pro Shop jigs, took them straight out of the package. They're identical in every way, color, everything, size, the whole deal. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to trim up this one. So the first thing that I do when it comes to trimming it, I think we all kind of understand that we typically trim the skirt right around the bend of the hook, maybe a 1/4 inch or even 1/8 of an inch beyond the bend of the hook. So that's got quite a bit there when you look at the fact that that hook bend is right there. But the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take my jig and I'm going to put it this way, and I want to get to the point where I have, you can see the difference between where this is the front half of the skirting material and this is the bottom half of the skirting material. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take the bottom half of the skirting material. I've got the top half of the skirting material in my hand. And with the bottom half, I'm actually going to trim that much shorter. Instead of just trimming it here, okay, where it's even with the hook, I'm actually going to trim that a little bit shorter. So I'm literally trimming 2 different lengths. I'm trimming the inside skirt short. Now I'm going to take and let the remaining skirt come down, and that's the skirt material that I'm going to trim right around a 1/4 of an inch past the hook. And so what I have now, I'm going to compare this. Let me take this one down for a minute. And I'll take this one right out of the package. Same exact hook, but now I've got, it just presents itself as here, if I hold them this way, obviously they're the same width, but it looks different now because this one comes out just as wide, but it looks different because it's much shorter. And I feel like I've got a little bit longer edge there that I still got to trim off, but does that make a difference? So, and it kind of umbrellas out a little bit, okay? So that's the way that I trim my hooks. Now, I'm also going to, just because I want to do this, I'm also going to trim my weed guard flush with my hook. I'm going to do it on one, I'm going to do it on the other as well. Okay, so I've got my weed guard trimmed, I've got my skirting material trimmed, and then I'll put on I'm gonna put the exact same jig trailer on each one. Let's get in the pool and let's take a look at what impact it had. Let's look at the rate of fall, let's look at how it looks. Let's see the action on the bait and see if there's any difference. Let's go in and look. So we're gonna start with the stock jig. This one is right out of the package. The only thing I did to it, as you saw, was trim the weed guard. But this is a 3-ounce jig, and we put the trailer on it. It's a Rage chunk, and it's the exact same trailer on both. But this one here, you can see it's a big, bulky profile. And it's not bad. It looks good, you know, going up, and it looks good as we crawl it along the bottom. The one thing that I do notice right off the bat in just these few drops that we've shown, and I'm going to do this in slow motion to show, but one of those legs, that left leg, looks like it's not twisting, and that's because, in my opinion, the skirt material is actually getting in the way. So that right there, guys, is one of the reasons that we trim the jig skirts back. Now let's take a look at the jig that I trimmed the skirt, and we can see, boy, that's pretty obvious right off the bat. It's both those legs are kicking all the way down. And as we watch this bait, oh, freeze it right there, right there. That profile, as that bait is sitting there, that to me looks more like a crayfish profile than if you've got a lot of skirting material. And guys, this is pretty much the when do I trim it, when do I not answer. And that is, if I'm going to be swimming a jig, not necessarily with a swim jig, but let's say I'm working a jig off the bottom, but I'm gonna be swimming it, maybe over grass, things like that. And I want a bulkier profile to kind of imitate, say, a bluegill or something like that. I may not trim that inside portion of the skirting material. I'll leave that and I'll get that bulkier profile to kind of give it that image of a body of a little bait fish, a bluegill or something like that. But if I'm looking to imitate crawfish or crayfish on the bottom, I want that profile to kind of be that bulky bottom, kind of a narrow center, and then those claws or pinchers out at the end. And that's what you get by trimming your skirt the way I showed you how to trim it before we got in the pool. So now one other thing that I wanted to do before we came out of the pool was, let's put them side by side and just check the rate of fall. And as you can see, and it's pretty obvious and probably pretty self-explanatory, the bait that has the skirt trimmed off of it falls at a faster rate than the bait that we did nothing to, that's got the full skirt on it. So by trimming your skirt, you're getting a sleeker profile, and a little quicker rate of fall, and you're not inhibiting the action that your trailer has by getting in the way of those pinchers or those tails on whatever trailer you end up using. Guys, one of the things that we hope to do with this underwater footage is help you be a better bass fisherman, help you make better decisions when you're on the water, catch more fish, to be honest. So if you think this is helping, if you wouldn't mind, please help the channel by hitting that subscribe button and hitting the notification button so that you see our videos that we put out Monday through Friday. We appreciate that. Well, guys, there you have it. There's the answer to the question about trimming jig skirts and what it does for your jigs. You can do it in certain situations when the situation calls for it. You can maybe just trim it up a little bit, but leave that inside skirt untrimmed if you want that bulkier presentation, or you can do what I showed you and trim the inside portion of your skirt and then trim the outside portion to give you that sleek profile. Do what makes sense in the situation that you're fishing, but be aware of that, and now you got that locked away in your memory for the next time you're throwing a jig. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see you tomorrow on another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.